When my father died, my older brother inherited everything. The house, the company, the cars, even my father's watch. And me? I got absolutely nothing. But 3 days later, I found a hidden letter inside my father's office. And that letter destroyed my brother's entire life. The rain wouldn't stop the day we buried my father. People kept walking up to me saying things like, "He was a great man. He loved his family." But standing beside the grave, I didn't feel like family anymore. Not after the way my brother Ethan looked at me. Cold, distant, almost satisfied. Our father built one of the biggest construction companies in the city from nothing. For 30 years, he worked nonstop, and for most of my life, I worked beside him. Late nights, weekend meetings, missed birthdays. I sacrificed everything for that company. Ethan didn't. He barely showed up unless cameras or money were involved. Still, somehow, he always stayed my father's favorite. 3 days after the funeral, we met with the lawyer. I still remember the smell of that office. Leather chairs, coffee, silence. The lawyer adjusted his glasses nervously. Then he read the will. To my eldest son, Ethan, I leave the company, the family estate, and all controlling assets. Ethan leaned back smiling. Then the lawyer looked at me, and my stomach tightened. To my younger son, Daniel, I leave my condolences and a personal request to move forward peacefully. That was it. No money, no shares, nothing. I thought there had to be some mistake. I stared at the lawyer. That's all? He wouldn't even look me in the eye. Ethan smirked beside me. That smirk broke something inside me. The next morning I drove to the company office like always, but my keycard didn't work. I tried again. Red light. Again. Nothing. Then security walked toward me. One of them avoided eye contact. We were told not to let you in. I froze. What? Then Ethan appeared behind the glass doors. Perfect suit. Fake sympathy. He stepped outside slowly. Dad wanted me in charge. It's time you moved on. Moved on? I helped build that company. I knew every employee by name, every client, every project. And now I was being treated like a stranger. That same week, the locks at my father's house were changed too. My own family stopped answering calls. Even relatives ignored me. It felt like I was being erased, like my existence embarrassed them. Days later, I sat alone outside a diner drinking cold coffee when someone approached me. It was Walter, my father's oldest employee. He had worked with him for over 20 years. Walter sat across from me quietly. Then he slid a small silver key onto the table. Your father told me to give you this. If something ever felt wrong. I stared at the key. What is it? Walter lowered his voice. There's a safe in your father's old office. And suddenly, my heart started racing. That night, I broke into my father's private office. The building was dark and empty. Every step echoed. I used my old backup key to enter. For a moment, it felt like he was still there. His chair, his cigar box, family photos. Then I found it. A hidden safe behind a painting. My hand shook as I inserted the silver key. Click. Inside were documents, hard drives, and one sealed envelope with my name written on it. Daniel. I opened it carefully. The handwriting was unmistakable. My father's. If you're reading this. Then Ethan betrayed me too. My chest tightened. I kept reading. I discovered Ethan had been stealing money from the company for years. I was preparing legal action before my health declined. I couldn't breathe. There were bank transfers, fake invoices, shell companies, millions of dollars stolen. Then I reached the final line. I left everything to Ethan intentionally. I needed him to believe he had won. I stared at the page in shock. My father knew. He knew the entire time, and he had prepared evidence against his own son. The next morning, Ethan walked into the company like he owned the world, because he thought he did. But 2 hours later, federal investigators entered the building, and everything changed. Employees watched in silence as boxes of documents were carried out. Ethan kept yelling, "This is ridiculous. "You can't do this." But they could, because the evidence was undeniable. The stolen money, the fraud, the fake accounts, it was all there. The story exploded online within hours. News articles, court filings, public scandal, even our relatives turned against him. At the court hearing, Ethan looked nothing like the confident man from the lawyer's office. He looked terrified. The judge reviewed the evidence carefully, then finally spoke. "Control of the company will be transferred immediately." Ethan's face went pale, and for the first time in my life, I saw fear in his eyes. Real fear. A few months later, I stood inside my father's office again. But this time, it belonged to me. Not because of revenge, not because of money, but because the truth finally came out. I looked at the letter one last time before locking it away, and I realized something. In the end, I didn't just get my father's company back. I got the truth my brother tried to bury, and honestly, that felt worth far more than the inheritance.